Hi everybody and Happy New Year! Welcome to Manlius Library's Team Take and Make first kit of the year. We're doing things a little differently this year. Each kit will have two projects in it. There'll be a craft and there'll be an art project. And most of the kits will also have some kind of printable pages you can color or puzzles. So for the first kit this year, your craft project is a design your own face mask, and each kit has a few fabric markers and a couple of white cotton masks. For your art project this time, we're doing color block painting, and so you'll have in your kit a canvas, a paintbrush, a paper plate, a piece of wax paper with some painter's tape on it, and a few little pots of paint. We're going to set that stuff aside for now because we'll do the craft project first. You will also need a pair of scissors, a damp cloth for cleaning your brushes, and also a cup or mug or some other container of water for cleaning your brushes. So we're going to set the painting stuff aside now. This kit also has some puzzles and coloring sheets for winter and positive thinking. So there's a winter word search, blizzard conditions, fun game, a word scramble, and also a coloring sheet that says you can start over every morning. So those are for your enjoyment. The craft project this week, this kit, is face masks, and you have a few different colors of fabric markers. Now, you can decorate these masks however you want. You can use puffy paint. You can use Sharpie markers and alcohol, rubbing alcohol. You can just have a plain white mask. If you have a Cricut, you could print a decal to put on it. But for this project, we have fabric markers. So all you're going to do is draw a design. And you can do anything you want. You could draw flowers. You could put your name on it. You could write a phrase that you really like. You could, my flower is going to come out a little wonky here, but that's okay. Flowers in nature are wonky. Okay. You could do hearts. You could just do a fun mandala design, whatever you want. And I gave everybody 2 masks, so you can make them however you like. You could do hearts. Now, one trick, if you find it difficult to write on the fabric because it's so loose, if you take a rubber band and something round or even square and just rubber band it around it, you'll pull the fabric taut, and that'll make it a little easier to draw on. Okay? Good. Okay, so however you want to design it, however you want to draw on it, you're welcome to do so. When you're finished and you have your mask the way you want to do it, throw it in the dryer on high heat for about 30 minutes, and that will set the ink so that when you wash it after you've worn it, you can just throw it in the wash and the colors will stay fast. Okay, so 30 minutes on high heat in the dryer when you're done, and your masks will be all done. All right, so that's the craft for this time. The art for this kit is a little bit more intricate. I'll set those aside. Make sure you keep your fabric markers capped. They're good to use on any kind of fabric. Cotton and cotton blends work best. All right, so for your art, you have your canvas and your paints. The reason I gave you a paper plate is because you might want to mix your paints or blend your paints, okay? And everybody's got a brush. If you have a different brush at home that you'd like to use, you're welcome to do so. As I said, you'll want a cup of water and a damp cloth. And this is the project you're going to need the scissors for. So the first thing we're going to do is block out a design on the canvas. And that is where this comes in. What you want to do is take your painter's tape and cut it in half the long way as evenly and with as straight a cut as you can. Now, a caveat to that is you may want a curvy design in your color block. And if you want to do that, that's fine. But I'm going to show you a straight design. The easiest way to cut this is to keep it right on the wax paper and just cut it that way. If you try to take it off, it gets tangled and it's sticky and it can be a mess. I know this from experience. So we're just going to cut as straight a line as possible down this wax paper like that. Okay? And I'm going to do that on all three of these. Just cutting as straight a line as possible. Now the reason it's painter's tape is because painter's tape will go on the canvas and stay there, but then it will also peel off fairly easily without damaging the canvas. Okay? If you wanted to use masking tape, you could. Duct tape would not work because duct tape will stay on the canvas, and if you try to take it off, it'll ruin the canvas. Masking tape will work not as well as painter's tape, but it will work. Scotch tape won't work because paint will get under the scotch tape. So we went with painter's tape. So now we've got our tape. It'll just peel right off the wax paper, but it stays sticky. Okay? It's like peeling the back off of a sticker. Okay, we're going to just do that. You want to peel it off carefully. As you can see, I've got a little piece stuck there, but that's okay. What we're going to do is block off a section of the canvas. And you want to make sure it goes over the edges and press it down pretty well. And then snip it off and you'll see that I've got that piece of wax paper is stuck there. So it's not actually going to let paint get underneath. And then cut that off. Right? And now you can, whatever design on your canvas you want to make sure you overlap the edges so you have clean corners. Very carefully peeling the tape off. All right. So we'll do that. Oop. You want to press your painter's tape down very firmly because the goal is to keep paint from getting underneath this. And the reason this is called painter's tape, this is the stuff people use when they're painting their houses to block off areas where they don't want the paint to go. Put that there. And you can put as many or as few pieces of this tape on here as you want. I really like the look of a lot of blocks. But your mileage might vary. Let's see. Now you'll see that one didn't quite reach the edge. So what I'm going to do this off very carefully. Is that. So that covers up that little corner. It gives me another small block, and then we can cut that off. Okay? So you just want to, as you're going, just check and make sure all your corners, your angles are sharp, and that your tape goes all the way to the edge. Oh, it didn't go all the way to the edge there. So I'm just going to continue that like that. Okay? Maybe you don't want any little corners poking out. Like that. Okay? So, press all your tape down well. You want to make sure you have very clean hands while you're doing this, because otherwise you'll leave fingerprints all over. And the oils in your fingers will stop the paint from attaching. Okay. Let's see. Do we like that? I think we do. But I think we're going to do one more little piece here. Okay. Now, as I said, if you want to do curvy lines or squiggly lines, if you have crisscross scissors or any of the other fancy design scissors that you want to use to cut your tape, you could do that. It'll leave a different and no less beautiful design. Okay, we've got our paper, or we've got our canvas. Now we're going to take our paints and we're going to paint. I'm going to start with the yellow. I'm going to start with the lightest color and work my way up to the darker. So I've got yellow, red, and this blue that's almost a purple. If we add a little red to that, it would be. So we're going to start with yellow. These are fairly thick paints. If you find them too thick to work with, you can add a drop or two of water. So I'm going to start here. And I'm going to be using some fairly thick paint for texture. I'm going to have some fairly thick segments on the canvas. So there's a little bit of yellow there. Now you could do this painting each one solid color if you want to. You'll notice as I'm doing this, I'm going from the paint onto the canvas, and I'm kind of avoiding dragging my paintbrush in the other direction, because every step we take to keep paint from going under the tape gives us cleaner lines. Okay, so there's yellow. I think I'll add a little bit more yellow, maybe down here for now. But I'm going to stop short of filling this completely. I think I'll do the same thing down here. Stop short of filling this block completely. Okay. So put the paintbrush in the water, cap up the yellow for now. Want to wash your brush off good. Wash your brush off well so it's nice and clean. Use your damp cloth to get all that yellow paint off there. We're going to open up the red. And I'm going to do the same thing with the red. I'm going to start by maybe filling in one block. With the red. breaking my rule of not getting the paint up the paintbrush, as you can see. Okay. So fill that one with red, and maybe we'll come down here, fill that with red. Then we're going to start doing some blending. I'm going to do red into this yellow. Like that. And maybe continue red across there. You want to have some spots where your colors connect. And I'm realizing now that I don't have any where my yellow connects. It gives a much more dramatic look when you take off the paint. Or when you take off the tape, sorry. I'm going to do this. And how you do this is entirely up to you. You can mix and match your colors however you want to. Okay, so I'm going to call it for the red for now. And using your water, clean that brush off really well. Pardon my reaching over the view. Clean your brush off with your rag, damp cloth, or paper towel, however you want to use. All right, now we're going to add a little bit of blue. This is really nice thick paint. So I'm going to do this one blue. It's a very dark blue. You want to make sure all your white canvas is covered. Okay, so there's some blue there, and I think I'm going to fill this one with blue as well. We'll go right into this. See how I'm pulling some of that red right into the blue? Let's see, I think we'll do this one. Pull that right in. And we're going to start in the middle of this one. Pull some yellow. And some red. Now, if you want to do some more blending of colors, the best way to do that is using your paper plate. Using your brush. This is one of the reasons this craft has got the thicker paint. It's easy to transport it from your pot of paint to your can or to your paper plate. So we're going to do that. And if you have another brush that you want to use, you can. I don't happen to have another one right here with me. So I'm just going to keep using this one little brush. So rinsing that off, wiping it off really well. These are acrylics. They'll wash off your hands, but they will stain your clothes. And anything else, you'll notice I have my surface covered. So then we'll take some of the red and put red there. As always, if you keep your paints capped, they will last for a long time. This was a test kit that I made a while ago, and so these paints have been capped up for over a month. And as you can see, they're not any worse for the storage. They were this thick when I capped them. And once you get some paints onto the paper plate, you don't really have to worry as much about mixing them. But if you mix them in the cup, you don't have any, like if you add yellow into the red of the cup, then you don't have red any longer, if that makes sense. I think that makes sense. Okay, so we've got some paints on our palette. And we still have some empty spots, so let's do some mixing. So maybe we'll take some of the yellow and mix it here with some of the red. Let's see what we can come up with. A little bit more of an orangey color, and that'll be nice if we take it and start here and just draw right through. Okay, we want that a little bit there, and then over there. And then maybe the same up in this little. Take a little bit there, and then draw through. Okay, see how the colors are kind of continuing from one segment to the next? And then your yellow and red are going to meet here in the middle, so we'll do a little bit of that there. Okay. Now we're going to take a little yellow, mix it over here with some blue. Okay, it's not really enough yellow. Whoop. Well, there's some yellow. Okay. Always keeping your paints capped. So let's see. Yeah. So that would start in there and continue through here. course, my favorite, red and blue, which of course makes a kind of a purplish color. We're going to take some of that blue, mix it over here with the red. So then we're just going to do that, which is really almost a brown. You'll notice I've got a lot of texture going through. I like the look of textured painting when you're doing abstracts, actually when you're doing anything, but it adds a depth. We're going to go a little bit into there with that, and even over across a little bit to there. I think we'll pull it up through here a little bit too. Okay, so brush in the water. So we've got our painting all done. You want to check and make sure all your white spots are really covered. I've got a little bit of a corner right there that's not. Okay. Now there's no saying you can't go back and touch it up later. You may have to. Some of the paint may seep under the tape. I think I've got the rest of it though. Oh, maybe a little bit of blue. Okay. All right. So, brush in the water to clean that off. We're going to put this down. I'm going to pull a clean piece of paper. You don't have to. Okay. Now, very carefully, you are going to, while the paint is still fairly damp, this will keep on here for a future project. If you find you didn't peel it all off and use it, you can hang on to that for a future project. Or if you just want to do this again. It doesn't really work on construction paper because construction paper has a fuzzy kind of nature to it. So the tape will pull up the fuzz. But it will work on cardstock as well as canvases. So very carefully take one of your edges and start to pull it up. Once you get a little bit, you can, with clean fingers, you can hold that down and you want to pull that up and off and away. Okay. Okay. And you want to pull straight up. All right, and then you'll get to another spot. All right, pulling straight up. The best bet is to keep one of your hands for holding down the canvas and the other one for pulling up the tape. It can be tricky, but you want to make sure your fingers are clean. And you don't want to let the tape fall back down onto the white spots of the canvas. Okay. It's very sticky. Working as carefully and as slowly as you need to. Pulling up all the tape. That's not too bad. And finally, if I can get the edge of it. There we go. And there you have, I'll wipe my hands off here before I touch it. There you have a really nice color block painting. Now, if you look and see there's a spot, I don't actually see any, but if you look on yours and see that there's a spot where you missed with the paint, you can always go back and fill it in. And if there's a spot where the edge is not quite sharp enough, I've got one right there, you can always go back in with white paint or with a white gel pen, if you have one of those, or whiteout, and sharpen up that edge. I think this one came out pretty nice. I'm going to keep it the way it is. And there we have some color block painting. All right. Well, thanks for joining me. I would love to see pictures of some of the art that you're doing. If you send them to me at lfinger@manliustlibrary.org, I can get those posted on our social media, or you can post them and just hashtag Manlius Library Teen Art. That's Manlius Library Teen Art. And post those, get those posted up on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, whatever social media you happen to be on. That's hashtag Manlius Library Teen Art. Well, thanks for joining me today. I hope that you had fun making a color block painting. I happen to have a piece of cardboard here. I can just, so you can see, it's hard to see with the newspaper, the way the colors blend across what would be the tape if you'd left it on there. I think that came out nice. Thanks for joining me. This was the first kit of 2021. The second kit is now open for registration, and we will be making for the craft fleece no-sew pillows, and we'll be doing some yarn painting, another abstract yarn or abstract painting technique, which is a lot of fun. So pop over to our calendar at manliustlibrary.org and get yourself signed up for a kit, and we can arrange for a curbside pickup for that. All right. Have a great day. Have a great week. Enjoy your arts and crafts, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.